All right. After 4 years of being gone, not posting, your boy's back. No, but was at the office talking to my boy Nate. Hey, Nate, if you're watching this. No, but we were kind of like just talking about YouTube videos and like us being younger, and he was showing me his. I showed him my YouTube channel, where he found himself. And I don't know, I was just kind of watching back at the videos. And I'm 25 now. Then I was, what, 20, 19, 21, around there. It's definitely a couple of years have passed. I'm growing up a bit. I just started rewatching all those videos that I made for the first time ever. I don't even think I watched it when I made it, like reviewed it, nothing like that. I just did it and posted it. But now it's just like, it was crazy to hear my takes and my point of views back then. Just kind of hearing how I thought, it was eye opening. I was like, damn, was I really like that back then? Like, I don't know. It was interesting. And maybe just kind of think of the title of this video, change, right? I'm probably gonna put some cool ass sounding thing title, but I mean it's interesting to see how much I've changed since then. I mean, of course, it's been 4 years. How could you not have changed? But it's interesting to see, right? I mean, even when I was talking about topics that weren't even relevant to what I was speaking about in those videos, like talking about like the perception of, and it's just me talking about some like girl I took on a date on. I was just pissed off about it. But like hearing like the ideas and the thoughts that came out then compared to now is just contrast, stark contrast. I don't know. I think it was fun to hear. Definitely self conscious that my boy Nate, love you, bro, was hearing it, because it's like, fuck, like, I'm talking about some crazy shit. Like, some of my views are definitely a little bit more, not radical, but I don't know. Compared to now, I was just like, I don't really think that. But at the end of the day, that's just growth. That's just you getting older, changing as a person, in your own thoughts, beliefs. Values are pretty much similar, but could be values too, right? Sometimes we value things differently than before. Not everyone can be rigid their whole life, of course. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, so I don't even know why I'm saying it. But it's one thing that I was hearing through it that at the moment I didn't think would change. And it's just that moments in your life, you feel so attached to a certain idea, to a certain perspective, that it clouds your judgment on many other things. And it's inescapable. You can't change it. You can't escape it. It's just the way that I guess my mind works. I don't want to speak for everybody, but my mind works like that, right? I mean, when I get hooked on a certain mindset, a certain idea, it's wraps. It's just what I focus in on a daily. It's my personality. It doesn't change to that now, but definitely moments where it's like it comes out and it's like this is that. And it's just interesting because we oftentimes think that the now is everything that matters, which it does relatively. Um, and we just get so hooked on our own ideas, other people's ideas, or the perception that other people have on us and how that impacts us. And something that kind of stuck with me when I was watching those is just that it will always change. Like the way you think about things, the way you express yourself, it always changes. Even when I was watching that video talking about who the man I will become, the man I will be, even that has changed, right? I mean, the man that I want to become is different than the man I thought I wanted to become. Growing into that role that I thought of myself of being, like 5 years after that video, one of the things was like, speak more fluidly, speak more clearly, speak with what you believe in. Mean what you say what you mean, be a better man, be honest, be this and that. That thing has changed, right? I mean, would say that speaking is definitely there still, of course. It's something that I've been going through my whole entire life, where it's like, some people might not understand you, or it might take a little bit longer to get out a certain phrase, a certain idea of mine. I might go in tangents before I actually get to the point, which is all those videos that you saw. Went on tangents until I actually got to the point, like 20 minutes later. Which is probably what I'm doing now. Like, fuck. But I don't know. It's just, things will change, right? I mean, now main thing that I'm most concerned of is just like grace, right? Compared to back then, it was very rigid, my ideas, but now it's just like, have grace with yourself. If have grace in the things that you want to achieve and the things that you want in life, because sometimes you might not get it. Sometimes you might, want something so bad, but it actually wasn't meant for you. Whether that be, whether you believe in God, whether you don't, I do. And, sometimes you think something's good for you because we don't have guidance. God isn't telling us everything he wants to do, but sometimes he'll just come down and be like, hey, no, that's not the path for you. And he'll show you that. For example, like, I thought back then that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, that I wanted to be like this next top guy, making money, this and that. And it's like, I'm doing well for myself in an entrepreneur-like style, but it's in sales, and I work for a company. I don't work for myself. I have a boss I report to. I have coworkers. I have customers that rely on me, which is what entrepreneurship would have done. But reporting to a boss, that's not something that I wanted to do before. I was very contrarian. What is that word when someone like goes against the norm? Rebel. I was rebellious. But yeah, just like rebellious shit. I didn't want to kind of be bossed around by someone, but at the end of the day, like, you dictate your own terms and everything can be okay, right? Sometimes you can't be the entrepreneur, but you can be the entrepreneur, or you can be, just be happy with where you're at. I think that's something that I learned a lot, which goes along with what I was just saying about grace, is that it's an idea that I've been hooked to and strive for. Who knows when that'll change, but just have grace. At the end of the day, life is short. It doesn't matter that much, maybe to some, to others not. But we only got one life. Putting so much pressure on yourself, putting so much pressure on the system that isn't even your system, right? It's man-made. Do you really want to put so much value on man-made things? That's at least how I think of it. Let things come naturally, and if you want something, go get it. But if you can't get it, or not that you can't, but don't get it due to you not being good enough, you not having the aptitude in order to do said thing, it's okay. It's all right. And that's just kind of what change is there for, and what growing up is, and what time does to someone, right? Changes your perspective on lots of different things, politics, social views and things like that. And it's okay. At the end of the day, it's okay. Something that, I wish I kind of stuck to myself when I was younger, which was like when I was 21, when I was that age, it's just like, be graceful, dude. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And if things aren't meant to be, it's not meant to be. Things aren't so black and white. Things exist in a gray area, and you believe this thing one day, and you'll believe another thing another day. Don't get too attached with ideas. Don't get too attached with theories or things that you come up with. Honestly, because sometimes, like, you're a fucking dumbass, dude. Like, you don't know shit. I still don't know shit. I don't know anything. Like, I know less than ever. I think I've lost brain cells. Like, but I don't know, like, it made me think back to my ex-girlfriend, Katie, and awesome person, by the way. I love her. She's one of the greatest people I've ever met. and I value the time that I spent with her. And I don't know how she did it, dealt with me back then during that age, but I think all the things that I believed in, who I was, kind of acted, and honestly, it just wasn't right for her. Right? I mean, I kind of acted in a very like a traditional masculine kind of role to her, and just it led not the kind of ideas or like the actions, the bad ones that we hear all the time of like this is bad for you, that literally is bad for you. No, it's like, of course it's a good ones I was doing, but it also took out a piece of my personality from her that she would have loved to have seen and been a part of. I bet who the fuck knows? She probably hates me now. Who knows? Nah, I doubt she hates me. But still though, like, kind of makes you think back, like, damn, if I just kind of gave myself a little bit more grace back then, if I didn't see the things the way I saw them, maybe, I could have treated this lovely lady a little bit better. Maybe I could have, been there for her a little bit more kind of present. Maybe I could have expressed myself to her a little bit more, showed her kind of the person I am, instead of, trying to submit to this idea that I wanted to go for and the person that I wanted to be. Like, you don't need to do that, and it just comes with, it's one thing that if I could go back or now tell people of that age, kind of what to expect, things will change. Your ideas and values that you hold so dearly, they're not going to be there. And I'm not saying like, hey, you being humble, get that shit out of here. Or like, you having empathy, get that shit out of here. No, I'm talking more so like political ideas, things that you hold yourself to, things of like that nature. Of course, there's things that's going to stay, but things that's going to change too. Like, for example, I know a lot of, my most recent girl I was talking to, she was definitely really deep into kind of the leftist ideology, like liberal shit, like men ain't shit, men ain't that. And, I leaned away from the right side of things and kind of the conservative view of things. And I started getting a lot more moderate, mentality, and started just looking at things for the way it was and the way I saw them then, and not stick to it. And I remember that we were talking about, I forget what it was. It was like, I don't know, like vaccines and some shit, where I'm like, hey, I don't want my kid to have 50 vaccines in them. Like, I actually want to like look through it, see which ones are actually recommended, or actually needed instead of just recommended, because putting 50 vaccines in someone's kid is probably not the best. Who knows? Like, I just don't really trust it, especially when it's like hepatitis. Like, is my kid that's, a year old gonna be having sex? Probably not. Even that, I don't even know if hepatitis is an STD. Who the fuck knows? Anyways, just a point and example. And she was like, oh, do you agree with like Donald Trump and like RFK? She didn't talk like that. She's awesome too. I love her. Things just didn't work out because it didn't work out. Timing. But, it just, I remember sitting in that conversation with her, and I was like, hey, things don't need to be so, this or that. Like, the more I talked to her, the more her perspective changed into a reactive, volatile, you said something I don't agree with like, oh no, he actually makes some sense. And I could see her kind of like changing gears in her head, where it's like, man, like, maybe it's not so, rigid all the time. Maybe there are exceptions. Maybe there are things that you should think through instead of just outright believing. And I don't know, I think that applies to a lot of people. Like, if people just gave themselves a little bit more time and didn't take things like that so seriously, maybe they would change perspectives and ideas differently, right? I don't know. It's just kind of interesting to think about. And 14 minutes of just straight nonsense, but I'm going to keep going. Yeah, I mean, don't hold yourself like that. Like, there's a girl that is my intern. She's interning at the company I work with, and she works under me, or like halfly. She like oversees. She had like calls into one of my patches and into another girl's patch. But like I remember the first time talking to her, she had this like light in her eyes when she like was talking to me. Like she was so excited and she was so ready to get started, and she had a plan laid out for her. And I remember like looking at her and I'm just like, damn, like I remember when I was that way too. Like I remember when I was in her shoes, like getting ready, like I would do, like uh, I did like 100 voice notes just trying to perfect a talk track. I would just like be obsessed with what I did, and of course it took me away from like other things, but that's besides the point. Um, it's that kind of idea that you had that you want to be successful at something, and you got to put everything to it. Which that's the thing. I didn't tell her like, hey, you're gonna lose that light in your eyes. By the way, like this shit is not gonna get fun, and it's gonna be very mundane. And the shit you do, like have fun with that. I don't believe that, but you get the idea. Um, I didn't tell her that. I let her be excited about things. I encourage her to be excited about things. Like she got like an equipment list, which is essentially like, something that is gonna be get ready to quote for the first time. She's like, Alex, guess what? I got this. I wasn't like, good job. Like, fuck off, essentially. I was like, oh, no way. Like, what was it for? Oh, it's for this. And like the quote's gonna be for them. And like this and that. And I kind of like leaned into it with her. She's 21, so it's not like we have a huge age gap, and she's awesome. Just as a person, like I would easily be friends with her. And I don't know, it just kind of just knowing that you were once at that point, and how things just change sometimes in terms of just being somewhere long enough, doing something long enough, experience something for X amount of time. It really just kind of puts things into perspective. You change a little bit, but it doesn't mean that you forget about it, right? I think that's the last point that I want to get into, is that although the things I was saying before in those videos made me cringe, although those things kind of, they're just like, dude, what the fuck are you saying? You know that feeling? It's like, dude, what the fuck are you saying? Although it made me did that, it was also awesome. Like hearing myself express my own ideas in that certain way, and hearing Nate behind me fucking giggling at me, like ranting about some girl I went on a date with, calling her a bitch. Like it was awesome, right? It was cool, and it was like, I wouldn't have changed that for the world. Although we want to change things in the past, although we want to change perspective, although we wish we were at the moment we are for our entire past life, it's not the reality. And it's okay to be like, you know what, I was that before. Like, look at how funny this is. Like, hey, like, like shit, I believe in this. Like, that's crazy. And it's like, other people need to have grace with it too, because it's like, although you might have believed that then, doesn't mean you believe it now. Like, it's okay. It's okay to grow. It's okay to grow up. It's okay to change perspectives. It's okay to change ideas. It's okay to just be a person. At the end of the day, I'm not saying anyone that I know is doing that, but it's like, it's probably a common phenomenon where people are like, hey, you believe in that, you're a terrible person, dude. Like, you used to go to parties and like just terrible example, but like bang chicks, like, bro, you're a fucked up person, bro. Like, you should have like dated them. Like, it's like, no, time of your life. Terrible example, by the way. Wow, I could have not intellectual at all. I was probably smarter back then, but it's okay. It's okay. I think moral of the story: have grace for yourself within the elasticity of change. That's what it is. Just have grace with yourself. A rubber band, although it might, when you expand it, and then you let go of one side, it snaps back, and it looks aggressive. There's grace behind it though, because the shape never changes unless you actually try to break it. But the shape never changes. It's gonna return back to a little, circle of a ball it was, maybe a little bit longer than not, but it's gonna return back to the state that it was previously. And the state that it was previously for humans, that's a soul, right? That's who we are fundamentally, how we were raised, the things that, you know, we have ingrained in us that we can't change, right? Like, we can't change who we are as a person. Sure, can, you know, ideological and physical and different things change, of course. But who we are as a person, you can never change that. And if you try to hide it, you're doing yourself a disservice, because even if at the moment no one likes you, no one wants to be around you, shit like that, if that is happening to you, someone's gonna come around that's gonna be appreciative of you. I mean, I've always believed like I'd rather have brothers than I have friends. I know it's cheesy, but it's true. Like, I'd rather have, 4 or 5 great friends that, I fuck with, that are having a great time with me, than have 30 friends where I can't even be myself around because they don't get me, they don't understand everything that I say, and like shit like that, right? So I don't know. It's just an interesting concept that I was thinking about after watching those videos. I'll probably start posting a little bit more of like random stuff. Like, I'm reading a lot. I want to do one of like East of Eden, and like not more so like book reviews, just more so like my opinion on it, what I took from it. Like, Tree Grows in Brooklyn was awesome. And just random things that come about, right? I have ideas. Might as well just share into the void. No other reason. I don't want to get famous. I don't want to get fucking followers and do all that shit. I just want somewhere to post my ideas, I guess. I don't fucking know. But anyways, that's all. That's all. Have a great day. Oh, it's so fucking cheesy.